Cody Brown reacts aggressively when news of Robin Brown's hidden pregnancy gets out. Robin Brown, a star of Sister Wives, is 6 months pregnant right now. She wanted to keep it a secret, but the news got out nevertheless, which made things even more tense and complicated in the family. Robin wanted to enjoy the good news by herself and tell her family when the moment was perfect. But things didn't go as planned. When the news broke, Cody Brown was very angry. He said that this was a private matter and that it was wrong for anyone to share such news. Cody's reaction made things more challenging for the family. Robin's attempt to be alone didn't go over well with other family members either. A lot of people think that keeping something so significant a secret, even though it's in the public light, shows that you don't trust it. Robin is getting a lot of bad press right now, but some people close to him have been there for him during this tough time. She is looking for peace of mind and family support at this time of pregnancy, which is currently in a condition of crisis. Now we have to wait and see if this child's coming will make family connections more complicated or if it will be the start of something new. Robin Brown sat in her peaceful Flagstaff living room with her hands softly resting on her developing baby tummy. She had been able to keep the pregnancy a secret from most of her relatives for 6 months. It wasn't because they were ashamed or scared. It was because they really wanted calm, control, and the appropriate time. But the time never came. Instead, a headline in a tabloid dashed her dreams for a soft announcement. Robin Brown, 6 months pregnant in secret. Within hours, the news had gone viral via social media, Sister Wives fan pages, and entertainment outlets. There were a lot of phone calls and texts, and the worst part was that Cody came into the house, red-faced and angry. "Who let this out?" he yelled while walking back and forth. "This was our personal lives. It's up to us to tell, not the world to find out." Robin, who was clearly terrified, tried to calm him down. "I didn't want the stress or the attention, Cody. I just wanted to tell the family the news on my own terms." But Cody wasn't listening. He was upset not only about the leak, but also about the growing stress on the already weak family structure. With his relationships with Mary, Janelle, and Christine in shreds, he had banked most of his emotional hope on Robin. That universe felt disturbed too. The other wives didn't care much. When Janelle learned the news from one of her kids, she just sighed. She kept it a secret for 6 months? "That's not just privacy, that's exclusion," she stated to Christine in a heart-to-heart. Christine, who had had enough of Cody and the family dynamic, laughed bitterly. "It's so Robin. She wants to be the one who is loved the most. You can't expect to control the story if you're in a plural marriage, though." Even Mary, who had become more independent and distant, raised an eyebrow. "The pregnancy isn't the issue. It's the not telling. We all had pregnancies in front of cameras and each other. What makes her experience different?" Robin, on the other hand, was overwhelmed by remorse and loneliness. Her teenage kids were worried about how stressed their mom was, so they attempted to keep her away from the media commotion. Aurora and Dayton took turns cooking and answering the phone. Every night, Brianna asked Robin if the baby was okay and held on to her. Robin was ripped inside. She still loved Cody and believed in their family's foundation, but she was tired. The looks, the murmurs, and the judgment, even from family, were too much to bear. Then something happened that she didn't expect. One night, Michael T., Christine, and Cody's kid came to her door. Michael T. whispered softly, "I'm not here to judge you. I know how it feels to think your family is falling apart around you. I just wanted to say, congratulations." Robin started to cry. She said, "Thank you. That means a lot to me." The storm started to slow down as the weeks went by, but the air was still tense. Robin and Cody put out a short statement together asking for privacy and thanked their followers for their support. But the wound in the family had opened up again, and it was worse than ever. Now, the question was, would this new baby bring people together or tear them apart? Cody softly told the camera crew one night while glancing out the window, "This kid, it should have been a happy time for everyone. But I'm afraid it's just another sign of how far apart we've become." Robin held her abdomen and prayed, not just for the baby's health, but also for peace. To understand, to get better. This child was a surprise to the world, but she thought they would also be a sign of something else, a second chance for a damaged family to get back together. But Christine's mood didn't match the sunny morning in Flagstaff. Sunlight streamed through her kitchen window, but she wasn't happy. She was sitting at the dining room table with a cup of coffee and looking at her phone. Just an hour ago, Cody had sent a message. "We need to talk about the new house plans. One big house for all of us, just like in Lehi's vision." Christine looked at it for a time, then locked the screen and let out a big sigh. Christine and Janelle met together at a quiet cafe near the mountains that afternoon. "I don't know why he still doesn't get it," Christine replied as she stirred her drink. "We've been living separate lives for years now. The thought of living with the other women again is just not something I can do." Janelle looked at her with thought. "I know it's Cody's dream, Christine, but that doesn't mean we have to have it." Christine smiled sadly. "That's right. I have served my time. I've shared kitchens, walls, and feelings, sometimes too much of them. And I don't want to go back. I adore how peaceful it is now. My kids are more stable. I finally feel like I belong in my own life." Cody went back to Robin's house and told all of his wives, Robin, Mary, and Janelle, about his great proposal. "I've been thinking," he said, "if we build one big house like they did in Lehi, we can reconnect and start over." Robin had hope in her eyes. Mary was doubtful, but didn't say anything. Janelle looked at her phone, knowing what Christine would say. "Cody," Janelle stated softly, "Christine doesn't agree with this." "What?" He frowned. "She is out. She doesn't want to live with any of us. And, to be honest, I don't blame her." Robin's face fell. "But we're all family." "No," Janelle said softly. "We were a family. But things have changed now. Christine has moved on. And she has every right to say what she will and won't do." Christine asked Cody to come over to her place later that week to talk. She wanted to be clear, but in a kind way. She looked him in the eyes and said, "Cody, I know you want everyone to get along. Of getting the whole family to live in the same house. That fantasy turned into a nightmare for me a long time ago. I don't want to be in that kind of place again. I won't give up my peace." Cody's jaw tightened, but he didn't say anything. He said in a low voice, "I wish things had gone differently. But I guess we're just not on the same page anymore." Christine said, "We haven't been for a long time. And that's fine." Christine shared a picture on social media the next day. It showed her and Truly in front of their cozy home, with a blossoming garden behind them. They were both smiling. The text said, "Home is where you feel most like yourself. And this is finally home." Fans filled the comments with love, praising Christine for being clear and independent. She had said the truth, and this time, she wasn't going to back down. Not for Cody. Not for the other wives, though. And definitely not for a house they shared that didn't seem like home anymore. But Janelle and Mary hadn't seen each other in person in months. Things had changed a lot for both of them. Christine had been married again, Cody and Robin had grown more alone than ever, and the family they used to know was now spread out across different states and emotional distances. But today was not the same. Janelle had drove to Mary's new Utah bed and breakfast, Lizzie's Heritage Inn. She hadn't been there since Mary's spectacular reopening ceremony after the inn had been remodeled. The red cliffs of Parowan stood tall and gleamed in the late afternoon sun. Janelle parked her car and got out, brushing the dust off her trousers. She took a big breath. She wasn't scared. She was simply unsure. As she mounted the steps, the wooden porch creaked. The door opened before she could even knock. "Janelle." Mary said, "Wow," with a smile, even though she was astonished. Janelle smiled. "Hey, stranger. Are you going to allow me in? Or are we going to have our reunion out here in the dust?" Mary laughed and moved to the side. "Come on in. You look fantastic." "Me too," Janelle said, and for a moment, both women stopped, feeling the warmth between them that had been lacking for years. The inn smelt warm and comforting, like cinnamon and pine. Mary took Janelle to the sitting room, where tea was already brewing. It was almost like she had been waiting for this visit, or maybe expecting it. When they sat down, the discussion started off awkwardly, going around neutral themes like the weather, business, and the kids. But with time, the barriers started to break down. You know, Mary began slowly, looking into her mug. I used to believe you and Christine were always closer. And that could have been true. But I guess I was jealous of how comfortable things appeared between you two. Janelle seemed astonished, but she didn't say anything. Mary's voice was gentle as she said, I wanted that kind of friendship with you. But I didn't know how to ask for it without sounding like I needed it. Janelle shook her head slowly. I had no idea that. I really thought you didn't like me for a long time. I thought you were judging how I raised my kids and how I lived. I probably did, Mary said with a laugh. I was angry, mad at life, at Cody, at all times. But most of the time I felt hurt. And I didn't know what to do with all of that. There was a long pause. Janelle then spoke. You know what? I'm also tired of sticking onto past feelings. We have both changed. Maybe now is the time to try again. Mary gazed at her with careful hope. Really? Yeah, Janelle said with a smile. Let's stop talking about what we didn't do and start thinking about what we can do now. I miss having someone who understands. Mary's eyes filled with tears as she stretched out and touched Janelle's hand. That too I've missed. They spent the remainder of the night walking around the orchard behind the inn, chatting about their dreams, their kids' triumphs, and what life had taught them. They laughed over the crazy things that had happened in their family, sobbed about times when they both felt like they were invisible, and forgave one another for things that were never fully said. As the sun went down and Janelle got ready to go back to her cabin, Mary hugged her tightly. Don't let it be months again, okay? Janelle nodded her head. I can't promise anything, but this feels like a new start. But on a clear Sunday morning in Flagstaff, the Brown family got together for what would turn out to be one of the most important and emotional events in their lives. As Janelle Brown sat down on the traditional family couch next to Cody, the cameras for TLC's Sister Wives silently rolled in the background. It was clear that she was tense, yet her voice was also strong. Janelle gazed right into the camera. Her face was calm, but her eyes were heavy with years. She continued, Cody and I had decided to officially separate, and her voice didn't quiver. This isn't a decision that was made overnight. It's a realization that we're no longer on the same path. Cody nodded sadly, looking more troubled than before. He said, Janelle is one of the strongest women I know. But we've grown apart. We still love and respect one another, but we're not together anymore. The news rocked the Brown family in waves. Christine wasn't surprised because she had already gone through a breakup with Cody the year before. She had been waiting for this moment, in truth. Christine said in her confession, I saw it coming. Janelle has always been her own person. She cares about peace, freedom, and being able to take care of herself. Cody? He wants everybody to do what he says and be in charge. It was never going to last for a long time. When Christine and Janelle met for lunch later at a tiny cafe in the area, it was clear that they were on the same page. How are you really doing? Christine questioned as they clinked their coffee mugs. I feel better, Janelle said honestly. For years, I felt like I had to live up to what everyone else wanted me to do. Now, all I want to do is make something for myself. I want to wake up in the morning and not feel like I'm walking on eggshells. Cody paced the living room at home with Robin, looking upset. First Christine, now Janelle? He stated in a frustrated tone. Like they're putting together a team to go against me. Robin tried to comfort him, but she could feel the distance expanding. Maybe it's time to think about what went wrong, she said softly. But Cody wasn't ready to accept it yet. Janelle's kids were ready to back her up. Madison and Logan both came to see us soon after the news. Logan remarked, We love Dad, but you don't have to stay in something that doesn't make you happy. Janelle grinned. That's all I've ever wanted, to help you kids understand that love doesn't have to mean giving up your own needs. Janelle made a brave choice when the breakup was confirmed. She would move to Sedona and finally establish the health retreat she had always wanted to have. The show followed her as she looked at homes, spoke with investors, and started her career as a solo business owner. She said, I'm not starting over. I'm starting for me. In the last episode of Sister Wives, Janelle stood in front of her freshly rented farm while the sun sank behind her in Arizona. She smiled at the camera with optimism. "I might not be Cody's wife anymore, but I'm still Janelle Brown. That's more than enough." Separation isn't always the end. Sometimes it's the start of freedom. Next season on Sister Wives, how will Cody deal with another severed bond? As the framework they once knew begins to fall apart, can the Brown family stay together? But Christine Brown sat down for a rare, honest interview with a local documentary crew filming a follow-up to the Sister Wives series on a peaceful afternoon in Murray, Utah. The interview was supposed to be a chance for her to think on her history now that she was fully independent. But no one was ready for what she would say next. Christine appeared calm as she sat on her porch, wrapped in a nice knitted shawl and sipping herbal tea. But what she said hurt a lot. "You know," she added, "Cody never once took a shower at my house in all those years." The camera operator stopped for a moment, not sure if he had heard right. The person doing the interview leaned in. "You mean never, not even once?" Christine nodded slowly, her eyes far away.
Never.
"Not in Flagstaff, not in Vegas, not in Lehigh. I never used my bathroom. I used to wonder what that meant." Back to Las Vegas, 2013, when all four spouses lived in homes next to them Christine always attempted to make hers feel warm and inviting. There were candles, framed family photos, and hand-stitched blankets on every chair. The smell of bread baking always filled the air. Cody would come over, laugh with the kids, have dinner with her, and maybe watch a movie with her, but he always left before bed. She convinced herself it was usual for him to be fair to the other women. But she could tell that his overnight bags didn't often come to her house. And he always appeared to leave before daybreak when he stayed over. She said in the interview, "I thought maybe he just didn't like my water pressure," half joking and half sad. But it wasn't about the water. Christine thought it was about being there, or not being there. Flagstaff. The turning point. Christine was excited about starting over when the family moved to Flagstaff. Her house was on a quiet, secluded slope covered in pine trees. She made a new bathroom for guests and even put Cody's favorite cedarwood-scented soaps in it.
He still didn't stay long, though.
And he never took a shower. Christine added, he'd say, "I have to go check on Robin," or "Mary needs help with something." But it always made me wonder why I wasn't worth the same amount of work. Her daughters started to notice it too. Truly once asked, "Why does Dad smell like Robin's house when he's here?" Christine shrugged it off then, but it hurt within. Today's Christine's clarity after they broke up. Christine sees those little things in a different way. A man who is completely present and cherishes his relationship doesn't merely come to see you. He is a part of your life. He wakes up next to you, eats your food, and showers in your bathroom. He smells like your house. That statement spread like wildfire on social media. People praised her for being brave. A lot of ladies who had been following her journey from the beginning sent her comments indicating that they, too, had overlooked the signals of emotional neglect. Janelle's response: Janelle wasn't surprised when Christine said what she did. During a different interview, she said, "I believe her." Cody had patterns. He always felt safe where he was in charge. With a smirk, she said, "At least Christine got the clean towels. I just got the visits on the calendar." Robin answers. Robin, who is generally thought to be Cody's favorite, looked angered by Christine's comment. She said, "That's not fair," during a contentious online Q&A. Cody loved all of us, but he was just too busy. Fans weren't sure. Many people sent in comments, many of which accused Robin of taking up all of his time and love. How Cody felt when Cody was ultimately asked about Christine's claim that she never showered, he just said, "That's crazy. I was always there for her when she needed me." Then he said, "Some people just want to rewrite the past to feel better." But a lot of people thought it was a way to avoid the issue. Christine's new start. Christine now lives contentedly in Utah with her new fiancé. Her life is based on giving and receiving, being present and loving each other. Yes, her new companion does take showers at her residence. Every day. Christine ended the interview with a smile. "I don't want a man who makes excuses." I need one who knows where the towels are.
But
Robin sat alone in the corner of her big, sunny living room in Flagstaff. She was holding a chipped porcelain mug of cold tea that she had neglected to drink. The house was too quiet. There was an unnerving hush that had come over it since the last family gathering ended in another fight. Robin had been feeling more and more guilty for months. Cody had lectured so passionately about the idea of a united multiple family, and she had once believed in it. But now the cracks were clear. Christine had left, Janelle was living alone, and Mary had shut herself off emotionally. And in the heart of it all was Robin, the favorite, the one everyone thought had made the difference. Robin opened her journal that night for the first time in years and wrote, "What if I was the reason this family came apart?" Flashback. How the family dynamic changed. It wasn't always like this. When Robin became a part of the Brown family more than 10 years ago, there was a lot of enthusiasm and even hope. The other women were kind, at least on the surface, and Cody seemed to have more vitality. Robin didn't just bring a new marriage, she also brought legal problems, kids from a prior marriage, and an emotional intimacy with Cody that made the others feel left out. One day, during a stressful visit, Robin murmured to Mary, "I didn't want Cody to change." Mary nodded nicely, but didn't say anything. Robin has been tormented by that quiet ever since. Robin held a family meeting because she felt bad. For the first time in months, Mary, Janelle, and even Christine, who was in town for Truly's school event, agreed to meet at Robin's house. Cody thought it was just another normal chat because he didn't know what Robin wanted. Robin stood in front of the women, who were sitting in the living room and feeling uneasy and cold. "I need to say something, and I need you to let me finish before you react," she said. Everyone was astonished and glanced at her. "I know you all think I had something to do with how things fell apart. And the truth is that I did. I didn't want to, but I did things that hurt me, like not speaking out when I should have, being close to Cody, and maybe simply wanting things to be simpler for me." Christine raised an eyebrow. Janelle leaned in. For once, Mary looked right at her. Robin said, "I miss what we had, and I miss you. I want to find a way to heal, even if it doesn't mean going back to what we were." There was a lengthy pause. Christine, who had been the most vocal about Robin in the past few months, stated, "It's too late to change the past. But maybe it's not too late to find peace." There were no hugs or tears after the meeting. But there was something else that was unusual, stillness, not because people were angry, but because they were thinking. For the first time, Robin had taken responsibility for the family's problems. A few weeks later, Janelle asked Robin to coffee. Mary sent her a text with a picture of a book she thought Robin would appreciate. Christine no longer blocked her on social media. Things weren't better, but something had changed. As Robin sat on her couch again, this time with a warm cup of tea and a little less weight in her chest, she whispered, "Maybe this family isn't over. Maybe it's just becoming something new."